Right, let's see how we get on. We've been having some technical difficulties, so we're going to see if this works. So here we go. So this is the second video this week using the Cup of Christmas stamp set and the Cup of Cheer dies that coordinate with it. So on Monday we made this really cute little 3-inch card, and we talked about 3-inch cards being really lovely little size. We have the envelopes that go with them in the annual catalogue, and then you can pop them inside one of our pizza boxes. Obviously you wouldn't necessarily decorate it with magnolias if you were using it for Christmas cards, but likewise your 3x3 cards don't have to be for Christmas. They could be birthday cards, they could be thank you cards. It'd be a really nice little gift if you got somebody that's just had a new baby. You could make them up a little set of appropriate thank you cards and pop it in a box to gift that to them. Make good little raffle prizes, all sorts of things, all sorts of reasons why you'd want to make up a little set of 3x3 cards, and you can make little bags and things for them to go into, so they really are cute. So that was the one we made on Monday, but now of course I can share the inside of the catalogue with you. And there are a few samples in here using this stamp set and bundle. There's a little card there that looks as if like it would be another 3x3 card. And down the bottom here there's a couple of more, and you could put all those together to make sets. So whereas our card used the stripy stamp, this one is using the spotty stamp, and this one is using a die. So really lovely. And if we turn to page 34, which is where we'll find the stamp set and dies and things, here is that stamp set. So here's the big stamp set. We've got the dies that match it over here. And it tells you about, you've got your bundle price as well. Does that come as a bundle price? I'm just looking to see. Yes, here we are. This tells you about the bundle. So if you want the stamp set and the dies, you can get it as a bundle price. And here's some more examples using that card. So you've got this one with the stamps going the different ways. That certainly doesn't need to be a Christmas card, although it has got a Christmas greeting on there. You've got this one here. That's using the beautiful papers from the fall autumn bundle, this Come Together suite, using this gingham, this pretty peacock gingham on that card just there. And again, that certainly wouldn't need to be a Christmas card, it could be for birthday or all sorts of things. This one's using the dies to create candy canes, and it tells you here about the reversible stamps and how you can stamp on one side, clean it off, turn it over, stamp on the other. And as I said, this is a patent pending stamp, because it is a new innovation from Stampin' Up. And if we look over the page here, there is another sample here, and this time using the basic pattern decorative masks in the background there, and they've made that spotty background that I suspect may have been done with the new metallic ink by the look of it. But again, you've got these mugs, some going one way, some going the other, stacked up, and that's where that sort of having that reversible stamp really comes into its own, being able to have them going opposite ways. And you do also get the dies, one going one way and one going the other, so that you are able to cut those out as well. So let's have a little bit of a play with these stamps. I've used this block rather a lot this afternoon. But let's have a little play with these and show you them in action, stamping in reverse. So I think I did say on Monday's video, but if I didn't, if it was in an earlier version of this one, Stampin' Up have put together a little video with some hints and tricks for these reversible stamps. And one of the things they've talked about is the fact that the machines that they have to clean the residue from the moulds off the stamps doesn't work with the double-sided stamps. It only cleans one side, so that you might want to make sure that you've give both sides of your stamp a good clean, and that you also test both sides of your stamps and condition both sides of your stamps. And you can do that just by inking them up a few times and stamping. That tends to condition them. You can also put a bit of Versamark on them. If you ink them up with some Versamark, that can help to condition them. But just by inking them up and cleaning them a few times, it tends to rub off any of that leftover residue and means that you get a nice clean image. So let's start with, I've got a piece of Whisper White here, I've got my Poppy Parade ink. Let's stamp one of these mugs, and this one is going to have the handle on the right hand side. Beautiful. Let's clean that up a bit. Now stamping scrub before turning it over, inking up the other side and stamping that on our piece of card. And now we've got those two mugs side by side. Aren't they cute? So lots of reasons you might want a pair of mugs like that. Perhaps it's somebody moving into a new home. It could be you want to give somebody a card to welcome them to the team, into a new job. Those could be a happy anniversary card. And it could be a sort of, you know, a card for thinking of you. All sorts of things. An invitation to tea even. So lots of reasons why you might want two mugs side by side, and you could do lots of bright coloured mugs in really bright colours, or you could stamp them on either side. You could die cut one and then stamp the other image on the other side using your Stamparatus and the technique where you create yourself a template so that you can line up your second stamp beautifully. So yeah. Lots of really good reasons why you might want double-sided mugs to create tags and all sorts of things. So really lovely. So what did I do with these mugs, having played around with them and done reversed images? I actually created a card that is a bit of a tea and sympathy card. I did a blog post earlier this week because I was doing a challenge card. I was a guest designer on the Global Design Challenge this week, and the card that I did for that, it was a colour challenge and it was very vintagey, so I wanted a tea set type card, afternoon tea sort of feel to it. And I said in that blog post that actually as a family, tea has always been the answer to everything. Whatever the question was, tea was the answer. If you weren't very well, if you'd had a bereavement, tough day, celebration, somebody came to visit, whatever the reason, you know, your boyfriend's just dumped you, whatever the reason, a good cup of tea. Let's have a cup of tea. That will make everything better. So tea has always been the answer to every question in our family. So I thought I would make this card with these mugs. So as you can see, I've got a striped mug that I've stamped straight onto my Whisper White card that side, and I've got a opposite facing spotty mug the other side, and then I did the reverse of both of those stamps onto some Whisper White card and die cut them, and then those are lifted up with dimensionals in the middle there. And this greeting, I'm here if you need me, comes from this Here's a Card set. This has got some really great greetings in here. I particularly like this one. It's all messy: the hair, the house, the heart, life. And you could add on to that, I'm here if you need me, couldn't you? So a really great stamp set with lots of really great greetings in. So we've got our mugs, and then the tea, the word tea here, I actually dug out. This was my first outing for my hand lettered prose dies, and this is a great set of dies, really well priced. For a complete alphabet plus. You've got hashtags, you've got all sorts of things in there, all sorts of little quotation marks and a whole number of things, but a really great stamp set. So what I did was I cut the letters TEA out of Poppy Parade cardstock and out of black, put the black behind the red to give it that pop, to give it that shadow, and then the mats on here, as I say, you've got your 21 by 10 centimeter card base, card front. This is 20.5 centimeters by 9.5. This one is 20.5 centimeters by 8.5, and this one is 20 centimeters by 8. And then I just added some faux stitching. So that's using those lovely mugs. And very definitely not a Christmas card, although we could have added in some candy canes and a bit of puff snow paint when we got our hands on it, and to make cream and things, and could very much have made it a Christmas card, but this one wasn't a Christmas card. We went on a non-Christmas theme for that one. So our next project, so for this one I played around with some of the dies as opposed to the stamps, and the dies that I particularly played around with were these two here. So this one gives you a striped effect. In actual fact, there's a little bit of cardstock still stuck in that one, and then this one is this sort of poinsettia. So they actually fit within the center of the large dies, and it doesn't matter which one you use, which way it's going. So you can have your stripes to add on to that one, or you can have your stripes to add on to that one. So whichever of those, whichever direction your mug is going to, these inners will work with it. So it was these that I wanted. So let me show you what they cut out like before going on to show you the project that I created with them. So I've just got a piece of oddment of black card there. So let's put our striped die and our poinsettia die on there, and we'll just run that through the big shot. And these just, look at that, with a bit of a flick, just fall out, make a mess everywhere, but that's okay. So it just falls out, and then you've got this fabulous striped mug decoration, mug inner. And then here's the poinsettia one. And these dies are just fabulous, aren't they? They are just such good quality. Because my plates are a little bit warped and all of those sorts of things, but it hasn't made any difference. They've just cut out, and I could get my pokey tool out to do those last little bits. So we've got that bit there. I think there's another centre in the middle of there, and a bit just there, and that's looking like a bit just there. There we go. So that is the little black poinsettia. That's the poinsettia mug inner. So they're really good. So let's move the big shot out of the way for now. The other thing that I did cut, that was very nearly on my toe. That was very nearly not polite words coming over the video. The other thing that I die cut, I use these two dies, and this one gives you like this tea bag string sort of shape, and then you've got this little thin inner die here that so you can either run them both through together and cut like a little thin frame, or you can do them individually and have your outer bit and your inner bit, and that's what I did. I had an outer bit and an inner bit, and I actually went for a pizza box, only this time it wasn't just one of our standard white pizza boxes. In this Christmas catalogue we have gold pizza boxes, so they still are the same sort of food safety quality. You can still add your chocolates and your cookies and things in, but you actually get gold mini pizza boxes. So £6.50 gives you 8. Couldn't see then for looking. So you get 8 shiny gold boxes, and they're really rather beautiful. So you know, these would be good for your little boxes of Christmas cards, but equally thinking on a tea themed, you could have a little collection of tea bags and perhaps some homemade cookies, or you could perhaps put some chocolates or all sorts of things. So I made up, using lots of different elements of gold, I made up a little gold pizza box. So let's have a little look at what we've got here. So in the background here is this little stamp here, and this is a stamp out of the stamp set, out of the Cup of Cheer stamp set, which appears to have disappeared. Here we go. So it's this little sort of foliage flourish just here. So I cut a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and it measured, I think, 7.5 centimeters in the end. Yes, a 7.5 centimeter square piece of very vanilla cardstock. And then I took the triple punch here, and I used this corner rounder, and I rounded the 4 corners on that cardstock. And the way that you do that is you want to tuck your square corner firmly into the squares that it provides on the, put it in the guides on your punch, push it right in and punch it, and then you get this lovely rounded corner. So I use that to round my corners. I then used Versamark to stamp this foliage stamp in all 4 rounded corners, and heat embossed it with gold embossing powder. So this is heat embossed, this piece of gold just here. And then I die cut the mugs out of very vanilla cardstock, and the poinsettia and the stripes out of gold foil. And to stick those in place, what I did, let's just stick one of these onto something random. I don't know, perhaps be a spotty mug. A spotty mug with a stripy top will look a little bit weird, but it will give you the idea of how I stuck these down. So I took my silicone mat. These silicone mats are really useful. I squidged a little bit of Tombow onto my mat, and then I just patted my die cut into the glue rather than trying to glue the back, and then just pressed it down. So there we are, spotty mug with a stripy top. Looks very weird, but that just shows you how I was able to stick those pieces on. And the same with this bit. Let's put a little bit of glue on the top. It just means that you don't get glue splurging everywhere. There we are, and there's a spotty mug with a poinsettia on the top. And those have stuck quite firmly. So that's a top tip of how you can put glue on the back of some of your finer die cuts and things. So that's what we did with here. So we've got our gold poinsettia, our gold stripes. So this is foil. So we've got gold embossing powder, gold foil, and then this Enjoy just here has actually been stamped. I'm looking to see if I can see. That's actually the copper one. Here it is. I knew it couldn't be far away. In the catalogue, we've got a set of 3 metallic inks. So this is the Golden Glitz. There is also a Celestial Copper, and there is, so Golden Glitz is what I used on this one. You've got the Celestial Copper, and you've got the Silvery Shimmer, and they are actually a pigment ink, but they do give a really good finish that looks as if it's been embossed. It sort of is sort of quite raised, if you like, and they do take, you do need to give them a minute or 2 to dry, as you do with all pigment ink, but that's a really nice effect, and they really are quite shiny, and it is a really useful addition to our family of inks. And you can very easily, we could have stamped this foliage in that pigment ink rather than heat embossing it, and it would have looked equally beautiful. So there we have gold foil, gold embossing, the gold pigment stamp. I've just added a few little sparkly gems on there, and then this ribbon that isn't actually gold, but I felt as if it still worked. It sort of stayed with the metallics, and it's this ribbon, this very vanilla ribbon that has these Merry Christmases, a couple of different Merry Christmases running through it, and they are actually a copper finish on the words, and obviously you could cut out just the Merry Christmas and have that as a greeting. But what I've done is I've cut a couple of strips, got one going each way on the back there, and I think despite the fact that it's copper, the fact that you've got the metallics and the fact that I've also added in a little bit of almost silver with those clear gems, just adds to the whole metallic idea of that box. So we have our gold pizza box with gold mugs on the top. Yeah, really lovely. And as you can see, I cut the outside of that sort of tag, the tea bag tag, if you like, in gold, and very vanilla on the top before stamping it in that gold ink. So there we have a few different projects using the Cup of Christmas stamp and the Cup of Cheer dies. So we have the here if you need me tea card. We have our really blingy, glitzy, Christmassy pizza box. And we have our little 3x3 card that's just really cute with those really lovely holly berries with that out of that red glimmer paper. Yeah, so some really cute projects using the Cup of Cheer. Obviously they are now available to buy, so if you want to follow the links and go onto my shop, online shop, you'll be able to find all of the Christmas catalogue goodies there. If you haven't yet got your own copy of the catalogue, then do go on to my website, and here's the web address, www.love-a-duckie.co.uk, and if you go onto my website, you will find links to my shop, you'll find links to all my events, any special offers. You'll also find a widget that says request a catalogue, and you can click on that, and on the form that pops up you can tick whether you want an annual catalogue, whether you want autumn and winter catalogue, or indeed if you want both, and that will let me know that you would like one, and I can get one on its way to you. You can book onto classes, and you can follow my blog. So do go and check out my website, and thank you for joining me today, and I will be back as normal, whatever normal is, on Monday morning with another product of the week.